long story short, 2020 has been a year and will continue to be a year of major restructuring. The planetary reflection of this is a major conjunction of two of our big teacher planets, Saturn and Pluto. This conjunction happens once every 38 to 40 years. And historically, it is always a time of destructuring and restructuring. Depending on what else is happening in the sky, these moments throughout history have been keyed to really important transitions in society. And, you know, as I said, if you're really an astrology geek like I am, it will be interesting for you to go back through history and look at the Saturn-Pluto conjunctions and the major things, even just in the 20th century, the major changes that have come during that time. But for us personally, it's also the ending and the beginning of a 38-year cycle. So when we talk about these two energies together, we're talking about Saturn, who rules our boundaries, our structures, the things that we build, our governmental structures, our authority figures, and how we approach authority. And that applies to our inner authority as well. So we can see outside and within, the energy of Saturn is about boundaries and structure, how we deal with that in our own psyches, how we deal with it as a society. And Pluto is the god of the underworld and the god of death. So when Saturn and Pluto meet up, it's a confrontation of he who brings structure with he who awakens the shadow. So we can see why these are momentous times. And it's very much key to what we see in society. And that's very interesting to talk about and very real. But I'm here to help you to learn more about you. And what we're seeing in the world around us is also what we see within us. So somewhere within you, you're undergoing a major life restructuring around how you deal with structures, patterns, boundaries, and inner authority in relation to the underworld journeys you've been on in your life and the shadow work that you've done. Facing your fears and restructuring around that work that you're doing to grow yourself up. And you're doing this you only have an opportunity to do this once every 38 years. The last time we did this was in 1982. On a simple level, we all want to be looking at Capricorn, the Capricorn house in our chart. And where Capricorn lives in your chart, now you have an idea where that is in your solar year, what the Capricorn area of your life feels like in relation to your own sun. So that's the part that's being grown up. So it's all those Capricorn themes of working hard, growing ourselves up, dealing with our governmental structures, all of that stuff. Jupiter, our big expansive planet, is also in the sign of Capricorn. So we've really just got this big pile up in Capricorn, which has just made things really, really challenging. So again, the thing for you to be looking at is where does that Capricorn house show up in your chart and what does that say about your own experiences of this year? Into this soup of restructuring and growing ourselves up and learning about who we are and facing our shadows comes this fall, and this is why this fall is has its own particular challenges. Our beautiful planet Mars of assertiveness and action and life force and aggression is spending not just 1 month as he usually does, but almost 5 months in his super fiery happy place of Aries. And this is important because he's having difficult conversations with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction throughout the whole fall. Because he retrogrades, and I won't go too much into the astro-technicality, but I want you to get the energetic picture, that our inner life force is feeling really heated up and overstimulated. That for you personally, it might be feeling like a wonderful creative drive, but then also that's somewhat thwarted by these difficult conversations with the part of you, Capricorn part, squaring the Aries part, the part of you that needs to face the shadows, grow yourself up, and do some deep restructuring before you can really make those dreams happen. On another level, some of this is just what many of us are experiencing with the shutdowns due to COVID, that there's a lot of energy and force, even just within our homes and within ourselves and within our drive to work and our drive to get things done, that's being thwarted by this Saturn-Pluto energy, these structures around shadow and death, literally. So, you know, astrology can be very literal. So this is the major energy of the rest of 2020, is this interplay between the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that we've been dealing with all year, the backbone of the year, about restructuring and growing ourselves up, and it's hard. And all of this heated energy of Mars in Aries that's in an uncomfortable but dynamic relationship to this Saturn-Pluto. So we're seeing this in the world around us, and we're also feeling it within ourselves. And this is why it's such a good time to be very in touch with our natural cycles, very honoring of our own in-breath and out-breath in our energetic life, very honoring of the seasons of our lives, because we are going to be encountering some frustrations and abrasions and heatedness. And the more we are aligned with our own natural cycles, the more we are honoring those waning cycles when they need to happen, the more energy we will have to make something positive of these difficult dynamic energies. That really is the main thing that I wanted to share with you. I've got some highlights of the coming months, but the main thing that I really want you guys to know is that it is going to be a big fall, especially Libra season. And you will encounter some challenges and some frustrations. And coming out towards the end of the year, we get into Scorpio Sagittarius season. Truly, we're going to be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. The energy is going to shift so much. Doors are going to open. Things are going to become easier and gentler. And it's not going to be an instant overnight, everything's yay, hooray again. But there will be progress. There will be more freedom. There will be more, not quite ease yet, but definitely more spaciousness and more ability just to get stuff done. So what that's going to look like in a slightly more detailed way, I'm going to try not to go down a lot of detail here. October's challenging, but then yay, we get to Scorpio season and we get into some really beautiful creative solutions to deep, long-standing problems. We're going to need our courage to dig deep and look at shadows, but Scorpio season, we're going to be like, oh my God, 2020 really is going to end and things really are going to get better. There's going to be some kind of big shift around the 12th of November, because that's the last of those conversations. For you personally, you're kind of wrapping up your shadow work for the year in mid-November. So that's really positive, because then you can move on. Then Mars goes direct, woo, yay, we're done with that. And we get a beautiful, rich new moon in Scorpio. So Scorpio season's good, but again, if you have the courage to wrap up your shadow work, that's going to be really good. Sagittarius season is like, wow, this is when things really change. Look at all of these important things that are happening. And almost all of these are really positive transits that are wrapping up the difficulties of 2020. So Sag season, we can really look to feeling a little bit celebratory, like we actually should in Sag season. Oh my goodness. We're not out of the woods yet, but we're really starting to see like, oh, okay, I think everything's actually going to be all right. It is eclipse season, so that always brings its challenges, but we've got a lot of big shifts in the energy. All of these big planets are getting out of Capricorn, and that is a big hooray. Then the whole year ends with a beginning of a whole new 20-year cycle as Jupiter conjuncts Saturn in Aquarius, and we all start to see the light again and see the light at the end of the tunnel. I offer this with a little dose of moderating your expectations. It's not necessarily that everything's going to be right with the world come November, but many things will start to right themselves, maybe in ways that we can't imagine right now come December. And what I would love for you guys to be thinking about is everything that you've learned about what these seasons hold for you. Remember, this is 4 lunar cycles. So you have a chance to work through an increase and rest cycle 4 times. Remember to look in to your solar seasons and who are you? Where is your sun and how does that fit in? And go back through and see what I've said about the energies of these 4 months and see how that aligns with what your power spots in the year and your own personal solar cycle. And that will give you a lot more information. For instance, if you are an Aquarius and these months are your low time as far as your solar energies go, you're going to want to take extra precautions even and be extra gentle with yourself. Whereas if this is one of your power times, say you're a Libra, your sun's in Libra, so this is like really good beginning energy for you, then you can schedule in a little bit more and to be you'll be able to be more aligned with those energies. But so really take into consideration your own solar fire, right? Facing into this last quarter of 2020, and think about what that means for you, because these are big cosmic energies that come along only once every like 40 or 20, or in some cases 250 years. So you want to make sure that you're nurturing your own energies as best as possible. This is Bronwyn, and I really appreciate you being here. Thank you.